Danny, what would making the Super Bowl mean for Drake Maye specifically?
It would mean a lot. And so, thinking about this all day, obviously, I'll start with the most obvious. It's looking like last year's draft class, or 2 years ago's draft class, was like a pretty historic quarterback class. And it would cement him as the guy in the pole position. He probably already is with most people with him, Caleb and Jaden Daniels, but Jaden Daniels also made it to the conference championship game.
And some people, to be fair, would say you got to include Bo Nix as well in the group, as he got his team. He also got his team to the conference championship game, just hasn't been able to play in it.
Right. So if Drake gets further than all of them and has the best MVP finish, I think it'd be very hard to argue based on accomplishments. So that's the easiest one that I'll start with. He'd be the 9th quarterback ever to start a Super Bowl in year 2. So pretty cool exclusive list of guys he could join. He'd be the 2nd youngest quarterback ever behind Marino. He would jump in front of Big Ben, 2nd youngest QB ever to start a Super Bowl. But I think this is the coolest one. In terms of combining winning and the Super Bowl appearance, like winning 12 games or more at age 23 or younger and making a Super Bowl, Dan Marino in his famous 1984 season, and Drake Maye. When you combine that with a runner-up finish for MVP.
And maybe he wins MVP.
But I'm doing the floor. I'm doing the bare minimum is here, Super Bowl appearance and MVP runner-up is like the floor of what he will accomplish in his age 23 season. We're talking about one of the great starts to a career in NFL history.
No, I agree. And he gets the Joe Burrow treatment if he gets to the Super Bowl.
What's that mean?
Burrow is still, to your point, riding off the fact that he got to the Super Bowl in his 2nd year. Now, you're right. A lot of it is he beat Mahomes.
Yeah.
But, and obviously that's not the case for Drake Maye, but this is a heck of a run. The defenses he will have gone through.
That's true.
All top 10. The Chargers, the Texans, and then Denver. And if he meets Seattle in the Super Bowl and went going through these 3 defenses is really impressive. So I think he would kind of be viewed. And next year, he goes in probably as a top 5 game. Maybe Burrow would be kind of the guy he replaces, because if Stafford gets there, he's obviously going to be in. So he's probably going in as a top 5 next season as a top 5 guy right away.
Yeah, winning in Denver is tough. The last game I coached as a Patriot was in Denver in a playoff game, and we had 5 turnovers offensively. And then I lost an AFC Championship game with the Jets in Denver, so there's a lot of scar tissue with that, and I know how hard it is to play in that environment. It's disappointing that Nix isn't there, because you would have liked to have seen it head-to-head, and it is a little bit different now with Stidham. I don't know if winning this cements anything. I think it's fantastic, but I think then it becomes, what does he do in the Super Bowl? Because, and it also, as we talked about with Sam Darnold and some of these other quarterbacks, is how did they win?
Right.
Did they win in spite of him, or did they win because of him? And that part of the equation is important, not only this week, but if they win this week, also in the Super Bowl.
So this is a very weird spot for Drake Maye, in that I actually, because of the Knicks injury, don't think this game is a massive needle mover for him, given where he already is. I think what you said off the top, I think most people already think he's the best quarterback of that draft class, or he has been the best quarterback of that draft class, even if they think Jaden or Caleb or even Bo are going to overtake him. He's that.
I don't think Bo is as great as he was to get them there. I think it's Drake, Caleb, and Jaden.
I do too.
Right now, at least.
Jaden did go to the NFC Championship, right? He did.
Right, and the 3 of them did great individual things.
No,
more than Bo.
I agree with your. I agree with that. I'm just trying to be fair to, if Wilder, he'd be like, Bo Nix just set the record for wins over 2 years, and so but I think he already has, that distinction, that right now he's in pole position of the draft class. I think he already has had the best, I know, he already has had the best regular season of any of those guys, and this year he had, I think everybody agrees, at the very least, a top 3 regular season performance of all quarterbacks in the NFL. I think he already is in that, is this guy a top 5 quarterback discussion as it is? Because of the injury to Stidham, I think that winning this game, again, you got to see how it goes. The injury to Nix. People aren't going to treat it anything like Burrows. Because Burrows, it was not just he made the Super Bowl. It was he played the opposite of Jared Stidham. He played Patrick Mahomes, coming off back-to-back Super Bowl appearances, having almost won league MVP that year. And so I think...
But what if I hear you, and that makes sense, unless Drake goes out there and is awesome. He throws for 280.
Oh, if he has
touchdowns, you know what I mean?
A gaudy game, then I think
that makes Stidham kind of irrelevant.
I agree with you. They scored 28 plus, and he has some awesome game. I think that this, I've never seen anything like this, Danny, where the road team in a conference championship game is the one with all the pressure on them. Where it feels like this is because of the quarterback injury and because Stidham hasn't played. It's not even like their backup. It almost would feel differently if their backup quarterback was Jimmy G. Even though I think Stidham might be better than Jimmy G for all I know. But just because someone we know who used to be a starter, where it feels like the home team, it's a house money game, and the road team, this would be a catastrophic loss game, even though they're not touchdown favorites. They're small favorites.
That's what I was just going to say. Like, you've never seen it before because it's never happened before. Like, this is the least amount of experience, Jarrett Stidham, that any quarterback has ever had making a start in a conference championship game. So it is a one-of-one in NFL history thing. We don't have anything to compare it to. But we got plenty of conference championship games where the spread is 3.5 points.
Yeah.
Like, now, usually the road team would be the underdog compared to the home team, but this isn't like an unprecedented thing. Like, it was 5.5. Now it's 3.5. Right. Like you've said, Brew, a lot. Like this would be an awful loss for the Patriots.
I think it would be. I don't care what the point spread is.
Right.
I think that it would be viewed as a massive missed opportunity.
It would be a massive missed opportunity. I don't know how you can put him in the top 5 quarterback conversation after just 1 year.
Well, this is his second year, to be fair. But you mean one excellent year?
Yeah, one excellent year.
Well, I guess here would be my.
But don't you think that fits?
Schedule in 20 years? I mean, I think you may have to cool it off a little.
Gauntlet of playoff defenses that he's going.
So
and the ball was on the ground 5 times and just bounced the right way.
And
the quarterback play on the other side was tragic.
So, Coach, let me just ask you, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, and let me soften it to make it easier. Expand top 5 to top 6.
Yeah.
If we said Patrick, Josh, Lamar, Joe, and Stafford, let's just say that is the top 5. If the Patriots are in the Super Bowl and say, let's say Drake Maye plays well, they win this week, go to the Super Bowl, and they lose, but he plays a mediocre game. To me, it would be hard. There's not another quarterback that comes to mind for me that I would say deserves that spot.
What if Sam Darnold goes out and lights it up, has an unbelievable game? Is he in that conversation?
I don't think Sam Darnold's as good as Drake Maye.
I'm just
saying he's had back-to-back 14-2 or 14-3 seasons, took 2 different organizations to that level, and now he goes out and lights it up. And now,
I think if it was his first 3 or 4 years, yes. But the fact that he had those 6 years.
Josh McDaniels in his second year, he might look different too.
All right, let's go to Sam Darnold, heading to the NFC where the Seahawks are hosting the Rams. Sunday, 6 Eastern on Fox. Some people are calling this the real Super Bowl. It's pretty sick. Fox had the Super Bowl last year. We get it again this year. It's unbelievable. Stafford has looked like the MVP, at least to my eye, all season long, but he has his hands full with the Seahawks defense. Danny, do you think Seattle's defense can shut down the leading candidate for league MVP, Matt Stafford?
Yes. I do.
Do you think they will?
No.
Okay.
I don't think they will shut him down. We'll get to the picks in a second. I've tipped my hand probably all week. Like I do think that Seattle is playing better right now. But why I've loved this matchup so much all year is arguably best young offensive coach. Not that McVay is that young anymore. He is with age, but he's plenty experienced. And then arguably best young defensive mind in Mike McDaniel. Both of these games have been fascinating. Week 16, and I'll get to it in a second, was the game I predicted to be the game of the year, and then it was the 38-37 overtime game. But the game that they played in Week 11 was also fascinating because of, yes, the Darnold turnovers and how close the game still was, but also, if we could put it up, Matt Stafford struggled. Like, his fewest completions, his fewest passing yards, and his lowest yards per pass. Stafford in both games actually completed less than 60% of his passes. Now in the Week 16 game, which we have, it is the polar opposite of that, obviously. It is arguably the best quarterback game that anyone had in the NFL this year. And I totally understand why someone would look at that and say, well, I'll put more emphasis on the more recent one.
Well, and the trajectory says he's going to throw for 775.
Yeah, right.
This one.
But, like, can Seattle shut down Stafford? They have sacked him 0 times in 2 games. They've only hit him 7 times in 2 games. So their pass rush has not been effective. He throws the ball very quickly. But 50% of the time, they held him to arguably his worst game of the year. So they definitely can impact Matt Stafford.
Yeah, look, I don't see them shutting him down. You're right. First game, they did kind of shut him down. But I don't see that happening here. I think they can slow him down and keep him in check. Like, I think that's the best thing that I could see happening with what they do with Stafford, where he doesn't throw for 3 or 4 touchdowns, doesn't throw for 400 yards, and he doesn't dominate the game. That's their path to winning, I think. So, yeah, I think they can slow him down, but not. I don't think he's going to get shut down.
Yeah, the fact that the second game was so much better, so after they had the experience this season with what they were doing defensively, after they had a chance to see how Seattle wanted to play them, things that were successful from Seattle's defense, in the first game, and then they go out in that second game, and you put up, almost 1,000 yards throwing the ball. That's problematic. And then you have the 3 touchdowns, 110 quarterback rating. And to me, Seattle has got to figure out a way to get some pressure on them. No sacks in either game. That's not going to work if it happens again. And the fact that they only, you said hit him 7 times?
Yes, it's 7 hits and 79 dropbacks, no sacks, no turnovers.
Yes. Yeah, I don't think that formula is going to work. So hopefully Seattle has either designed some pressures that they really like that they think can beat the protection, or they're going to do something. They've got to do something different, something to get off the tendency pattern, so that Stafford is making post-snap decisions and has to hold the ball longer than he wants to.
I think it helps them that he threw for 457 yards in the second game, because now there's more of a sense of urgency, even though they won, to change things. If they had shut him down again in the second game, you're thinking, okay, what we do, he has problems with.
So I think the Rams are the team of the year. I know Seattle's had the best season. I know people are probably tired of hearing me talk about this Rashid Shaheed punt return. But I truly believe we are one, guy 51 on the Rams roster, not missing a tackle away from the Rams having beaten Seattle twice, having the second time they beat them soundly because they were in firm control of that game late, going into that. And Darnold had been bad in both games up to that point because everything good Darnold did in the 2 matchups came after that punt return. And we look at the Rams as a 13-14 win team that if that game had been different, this game would be in their building. It's like, oh, they're clearly the best team in the league. They have the same resume of Denver and the Patriots, but instead of playing the second easiest and the easiest schedule in football, they played one of the hardest schedules in football. I think Matt Stafford had his bad game of the playoffs. It was last week against Chicago, and you guys blew it. Sorry, Parco.
Yeah, no, that did happen.
Because week 1 of the playoffs, coaches Panthers, they were feisty, and that was, to me, a really bad, tough game for the Rams defense. Rams offense scored 30. Stafford threw 3 touchdowns with 300 yards, had the 1 interception, and Puka saved him from the other one. So it's not like it was a flawless game, but he moved the ball. I just think that McVay and Stafford came back when we didn't know if he was going to. There was like, they're going to trade him. They didn't. Gave him the offseason off so he could be peaking at this time. I have massive respect for what Seattle has accomplished this year. I just think the Rams got away with their bad game already. And those teams are dangerous.
What did you keep saying about the 2 matchups? The 7 turnovers?
That's baffling to me. 7 turnovers to 1, and yet they beat them one of the games and lost by 2 in the other.
So you could erase,
the special teams is a problem for the Rams.
Yes.
A kick return is usually an aberration, but I'm just saying their special teams in general is a weakness.
And you're right. Usually when the turnover margin is that lopsided, the games are lopsided.
Yeah.
And for them to be able to keep it as close as they did is a really good thing. But what did the Rams hang in the second game? 37?
37. They lost 38-37 in overtime. I think this is Stafford and McVay's moment, and I don't think Seattle can beat the Rams by double digits. I do think, and I think I've seen a game play out where it looked like, oh, the Rams are going to beat the Seahawks by double digits. They just blew it at the end. All right, time now for the most annoying segment on sports TV.
Oh, what a friend.
We're on the cusp of championship weekend, which means it's time for Danny to put on a garish fake chain and guess which teams will win by flipping a coin. It's time for Parkins Picks.
With friends like these, who needs enemies? But here's the thing. 27-27 during the regular season, lost by half a game to Nick. Not proud of it. Last year won 65% against the spread. Is the chain fake? There's no way to know. But 7-3
You
in the
really
postseason.
should not even be able to accept that Bears cover. That is such a shameful cover.
I'm sorry. Did they cover?
Right.
Yeah,
it is what it is, baby.
I wanted the outright win.
They're down 7. Caleb's back is to his end zone. He's going the wrong way, 45 yards away.
Sports.
I remember my first bet. That's not how it works. All right, 3-1 last week. But more importantly than that, if we could go for the full season, there it is.
That's not how this
All right,
works.
Congratulations on your regular season crown. That is the main part of the game. But it's not the entire part of the game, because the goal is to win as many bets as possible, to give out as many winners to the public as possible. You have given out 31 winners. I've given out 34 winners. You're under 500. I'm above 500, which means the crown is still in play.
Can I say something real quick before you do your picks, since you brought me into this?
Yeah, sure. Oh.
Faru.
Like your intro didn't bring yourself.
Faru.
Go ahead.
Do you remember how the picks ended in the regular season? What happened with Danny when he got all chesty? How he went 0-6 down the stretch, and that allowed me to win by the skin of my teeth?
Yeah.
If I'm doing the math correctly, since I have that one push, if you go 0-3 the rest of the way, and I go 3-0, I will beat you again. Is that correct?
I'm not great at math. Do I look scared?
I'm just checking. Okay. Some would say,
yes,
tread lightly, don't make the same mistake twice. But God, I hope we're on the opposite side of both of these games. I hope. I had both underdogs. I cannot wait to see who you have.
I'm guessing no.
Let's go in order, my friend. The AFC game. I'll lay the points.
Oh, and you're not even having to lay the 4.5.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Pull up your app right now. It's 3.5, moving in my direction. So if the Patriots win by 4, we both win. But hey, New England minus 3.5. Why am I choosing this? Could I talk about the superior quarterback? It's Drake Maye. Sure, I could do that. But the Patriots defense, coach, defense wins championships, Wilds like to say. They're getting healthy. They are playing their best football of the year through 2 playoff games. Opponents, running backs, yards per rush. Best we've seen through 2 playoff games since 2002. Opponent passer rating. Best through 2 playoff games since 2011. Defense, Milton Williams, Christian Gonzalez, Mike Vrabel. Patriots defense rounding into form. That doesn't strike me as a great opportunity for Jarrett Stidham to get a lot going there. I think the Patriots win the game by double digits. They'll cover 3.5 and 4.5. And now, are we on the other side, Nick, of the NFC?
Yes!
We are.
Thank God.
I'll lay the 2.5 with Seattle. You can talk about the close games. Most of your analysis all year, people have been paying attention. Which team has the better quarterback? Yeah, I agree. Matt Stafford is better than Sam Darnold. But it's a team game. 53-man roster. Well, they played in Week 11. That was the game when Sam Darnold was awful, and the Rams won. What have these teams done since Week 11? The Seahawks have been the best team in football. The Rams have been okay. lost a game to Carolina, lost a game to the Falcons, almost lost a playoff game to the Bears, almost lost a playoff game to the Panthers. They've been very shaky defensively. Meanwhile, Seattle's been a juggernaut, blowing people out, winning their games, covering the spread, impacting the games defensively. 2.5 feels easy to me. I'm on both favorites on Championship Sunday.
You're going to choke this thing away twice. I can't believe it.
Do I look scared?
I can't believe it.
I mean, 3 of 7.
All you had to do was take one of the picks I had, and you would lock in your Fugazi combined championship. You're going to blow it twice.
Will I be putting it back on? Welcome back to the OT. We got Coach Mangini and Willie Colon out here, and the story in Buffalo is just juicy. They are doing head coaching interviews in Florida. Josh Allen's participating. My guy Mike McDaniel's interviewing. Phillip Rivers is interviewing. Our pets' heads are falling off. Don't forget that Phillip Rivers played football this season. So, a lot to unpack here. The question is a very straightforward one. What do you make of their coaching search? And I am going to just choose to Occam's razor this. Like, the simplest explanation is most often the correct one. I don't believe Phillip Rivers is about to be the head coach of the Buffalo Bills. But there are still 4 teams playing this weekend. And so it seems totally reasonable to me to assume that Chris Shula might be on their list, who's with the Rams, obviously, as their defensive coordinator, or Clint Kubiak, the offensive coordinator of the Seahawks. Like, I think that maybe
Daboll?
Sure. I mean, listen, Daboll's the first name that everyone connected, but they could hire Brian Daboll right now. Like, maybe Phillip Rivers' agent is calling in a favor because he wants to get into coaching and he's getting his name out there. But there's just no way in the world, Coach, I could imagine that Phillip Rivers gets to coach Josh Allen in his prime when he's been most recently coaching high school.
Yeah, the search looks a lot like the decision to fire McDermott.
Which didn't look great in terms of the explanation.
Not really well thought out, and you walk in the locker room and you weren't going to fire him if he wins the game, and you feel like it was a catch when it wasn't a catch, but if it was a catch, they would have won the game, so he wouldn't have been fired, but you fired him anyways, and now you're here, and bring Phillip Rivers into this mix, and I get what you're saying, maybe they are waiting to interview some other guys, but what does this do? And Phillip Rivers seems like a great guy, and he just played, which was miraculous after 5 years on the couch, but he has only coached high school football, and what we're talking about is we're talking about a guy that's supposed to come in and replace a head coach who took his team to 2 AFC Championship games. And this new coach is supposed to be the one to get him over the hump. This isn't, hey, learn on the job as you go. This is someone who's going to come in.
Which is why he's not going to get the job.
But from a fan base perspective, there's already 40,000 Buffalo Bills fans who've signed a petition to bring back McDermott. You're not instilling a lot of confidence in the fan base in the terms of how you fired McDermott, and now you're going through this search, and it just doesn't seem like it's well thought out and disciplined.
Yeah, I agree with you, Coach. I think the name that interested me most is probably Mike McDaniel, because I've always been a fan of his system and his offense, and I feel like if Josh Allen is in that offense, he can do what Tua couldn't do, and that's being able to extend plays with his legs, right? Like Tua didn't run because of, obviously, the concussion situation. Nevertheless, man, I think one of the things, to your coach's point, I agree with, like your next there's a lot of pressure on getting this right, because you do feel like you have a playoff roster, right? You do feel like, man, we just need a facelift here and we can make a run. Whoever this next coach is, man, he has to not only be in line with Josh Allen, but he also has to finish the job what Sean McDermott couldn't do, which is obviously go the distance. I also think right now, if you're Josh Allen, you know, you being a part of this process, if I'm one of your teammates, that kind of bothers me. I don't like the fact that you have.
If you're one of Josh Allen's teammates.
Yeah, because I don't like the fact that you have that type of autonomy. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like, man, that muddies the water when it comes to accountability. Maybe I'm wrong. No, I just feel like that. I don't want to never sit next to the guy if he's like, you know what? I don't like the way you've been playing the last couple of weeks. I'm going to go upstairs and have a conversation with the front office. Like, I understand a quarterback is always going to be in alignment with the front office, but knowing that you're the guy that can possibly have a bad game, or me, you know, not being on the same accord with you, you have that type of power, that changes the dynamic in the locker room, because you no longer become the guy I want to have beers with. You become the guy with, I have to be careful around you. Our locker room is sacred. Our conversations are sacred. Now, the coach that you hired to be in alignment with you, you separate yourself from that brotherhood. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, Coach? So it bothers me. I don't like the fact that it's public. Not to say that other guys don't have that or haven't had that type of work or that type of situation, but that being made public, that doesn't sit well with me.
And I'm so glad that Willie made that point, because that was my concern too, is it does put Josh Allen in a really difficult position.
100%.
He's not one of the guys anymore. And even when Aaron Rodgers was talking about that, and other guys who've been in that spot, so now if someone gets cut or someone doesn't get the contract that they want or another hard decision is made, can they go to Josh Allen and say, hey, go make this right? Can they look at Josh Allen and say, why didn't you protect me? Because you know that he's essentially got an office up top. So it distinguishes him from a player to almost a management role, which is an awkward position for him to be in.
So devil's advocate point. Because the Ravens said they were going to do the same thing with Lamar, that Lamar could be as involved in the interview process as they wanted him to be. You highlighted that
Which is dangerous for Lamar, too, by the way.
Okay, but you highlighted it as a positive that Jesse Minter would already have a relationship with Lamar from their time in Buffalo. Like, these guys now make hundreds of millions of dollars in their contracts. Like, they are different than an offensive lineman or a defensive end.
Yeah, you're right from that aspect, but this is the problem. When you're a guy who's sitting at a table making those type of decisions, now you're held to a different standard, right? There's no longer you being late or sleeping around the locker room. You now become an extension of the front office, so you now step into a presidential role. We're not the same now. You know what I mean? And so
were you ever the same? Like, were you the same as Ben Roethlisberger?
100%. The price tag was different, but when we was in that foxhole, we were together. That's the difference. Now, I don't see you in that foxhole with me. Now, I'm walking around the field like, man, I got to show up. And who's the closest thing to watch me outside the film is the guy I'm protecting. So if he's not happy with my play style, I can no longer go to him and express how I'm not functioning within the offense. Now he's looking at me like, well, maybe you're just not holed up. Maybe now he's separating himself.
And you want the guys, like, if the guys are complaining about the head coach, they want to be able to complain about the head coach. If they want to complain about the GM, they complain. That's their safe space. But if you think one guy is kind of part of that other group, it's not quite the same safe space.
And think about the end of the game when they lost to the Broncos and the guys that were crying in that locker room. And why were they crying? Because they felt like they let Josh down, right? Now it changes that dynamic. Like, yeah, now you one of us, but now you kind of like, you're the extra phone. You know what I mean? I feel like it's just something that shouldn't have been made public, but now it is. And now guys are going to start looking at Josh. By the way, he's due to have foot surgery too, right? Like, there's speculation behind that.
And what if Josh helps hire the next head coach, and the next head coach is a disaster?
100%.
Everybody's gonna be like,
well, you're
really,
the guy.
dude?
I mean, he's still Josh Allen. I got to imagine Josh Allen's going to be fine. And I'll just say one thing about Mike McDaniel. Maybe the Dolphins shouldn't have fired him. He could have been the OC.
You don't fire Sean McDermott.
Well, okay, but he could have been the OC of the defending champs for Baker Mayfield. He's going to be the offensive coordinator for Justin Herbert with Jim Harbaugh. He turned down the opportunity to interview for the head coaching job in Cleveland. He interviewed for other head coaching. Like, he might be the head coach in Buffalo. Mike McDaniel, pretty in demand guy.
Well, I mean, the Dolphins didn't win any playoff games, right, when he was there, and Buffalo did.
Right. Sure.
Same division.
Sure, but Mike McDaniel, pretty in demand. Like, he's going to fall up from getting fired.
Yeah, John Harbaugh is in demand.
That's a thing.
Okay.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.